the main story of the weekend would be the silly season. The 3 more teams confirmed to be on the TM Master Cup Series grid next year would be the Xenos Racing team with the Xenos Sabre. Of course, they've been, it's not really much of a secret that they've been trying to get in. Of course, that's going to be the first Canadian manufacturer in the series. Owen DeGarmo has a team with the Inglesby, Nevada, and Rick Milligan, a long-time TM Lights team, will finally have another shot at the TM Master Cup Series ever since Milligan pulled his TM Master Cup Series team in 2001. No real surprises there. As far as the drivers are concerned, Luciano Soveral, who has been basically dominating the TM Junior Series ever since he jumped into that series, is going to be driving one of the 2 Bolden Speed Stable cars alongside Woody Watts. Of course, on a note about the TM Junior Series at Road America, of course, Soveral won that race, and he was told before then that if he won that race and got 3 wins and 6 starts, he would get a drive with the Bolden Master Cup team if he managed to win that race, which of course he did after beating a surprise in David Wu to the victory. And a relatively boring race, I must admit, with a lot of pit strategy deciding the outcome there. And also, another guy who we might see a little bit of in the TM Master Cup Series is Hawk Slider, and the reason I mention his name is because he could be running for the Independence Trophy with the Michelin Sons team, which recently won the ASCC race at Georgia. Of course, Hawk Slider basically dominated the race. His teammate Cyrus Laterza fell out midway through with an engine problem. Hawk Slider's engine did not fail, and he took home the Georgia 400 in a race in which only 8 cars finished, in which he was about, I think, 1 or 2 laps ahead of the next car. Another team from the ASCC we may see more of is Team Thunder, because we believe that team will be back. Of course, they are fielding the 07 car for Todd Rodarsik this year. And we believe they'll be back with 1, maybe 2 cars in the Independence Trophy next year. Anyway, that's all for now. Dan, off to you. Thank you, Lance. Taking out the Delano Pole Award is Scott Bates on the number 88 Team EFR Journey. And on the outside of the front row, Adrian Devereaux. Didn't those 2 cars finish first and second here last year? Oh, never mind. Tony Durbin in the 33 car having a very strong start. Scott Bates trying to win this race for the 3rd year in succession. Tony Durbin on the inside coming into turn 3 on the first lap is going to take the lead away from Scott Bates. Durbin was quickest in all of the practice sessions. Let's have a look from the back of the field. On board, Joel Rodriguez in the 86 Jinx Racing Omeka. Not necessarily the greatest of qualifying efforts from Rodriguez, but we'll see how he goes in the race. Alan Hodges and Alexis Rainsford, 2 of the main championship players. Both of them having very poor runs so far. Hodges in car 13, Rainsford in that pink car. Both way in the back of this 39-car field. And this race continues the way it is. It doesn't look like either one of them will have a good points day. About 3 laps in, we're about to have all of the Team Star USA cars, all 4 of them, in the top 5. As soon as Ethan Everett clears Scott Bates in the 88, that will be the case. And Everett in the 11 makes it 4 Team Star USA cars. In fact, in the top 4 in that picture, because Brian Sendak in the 8 car sits in second. That's Leonid Roderick in the orange car. Matthias Taub in the 38 having another very strong run here. Brian Sendak in the 8 is going to have a look on the inside of his more illustrious teammate Durbin for the race lead. And Sendak has been a bit of a hard luck driver in that stable this year. And clearly Sendak is looking for more. And there he goes. He's got the lead right now. Brian Sendak to P1 in the TM Master Cup Series Round of Canada for 2010. Another guy who's going to be looking for some more is Tyson Lautenschlager, because he is a Canadian. One of the few Canadians in the field. And another guy right there in last right now is Ian Cooper, who tends to specialize at these super speedways. However, his year has been so inconsistent, it's not entirely a surprise to see him do bad at this kind of racetrack, because he's done so well at tracks he hasn't had much success on this year. Ethan Everett in the 11, Brian Sendak in the 8, now chasing Tony Durbin. Coming into the picture, you see Jacques Bouvier in car number 59, and Kurt Pliskin in the 16. Last race for the Yoo-Hoo car. There's going to be a new sponsor, Snake Coils, on this car for the last 2 races it will run. Of course, the Round of Rush is kind of a special case. Le Gruel, Mark Zenos' first start here, and we have a caution on lap 8 early in this race. 80 laps make up the TM Master Cup Series Round of Canada. Then we'll be looking at Matt Taylor in car number 12. Watch ahead. Scott Stoyler gets up on the marbles, has to lift off the throttle to avoid spinning out, takes Matt Taylor by surprise. Taylor lifts off, has no choice but to run into the back of the 23 car, gets into his teammate Dale Roswell, and they both spin through the infield. Not too sure if either Taylor or Roswell will be back at that team. Even though Roswell's listed on the entry list right now, there's been reports that he might be running an independence trophy effort with a Gaznia power plant instead, so we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled for that. Looking at Lewis Kingston here, there's going to be a couple of questionable incidents under yellow involving Flash Racing and Ocean Motorsports cars. As Stephanie McGlynn ran into the back of Arto Kekkonen under yellow, Kingston ran into the back of Taub under yellow. Azuma Kazuyama in the 839 car loses an engine under the yellow, or, well, we're being told it's a gearbox, actually, my mistake. On the restart, Brian Sendak has the lead as a, well, virtue of having a faster pit stop than Tony Durbin did. Durbin had a fairly slow one. Second, Kurt Pliskin in that 16, and then Bouvier in the 59. Not much change so far here. And last year we actually didn't have too many incidents at all, other than the little kerfuffle coming into the pits under green. So maybe it's a good thing we had that caution early so that we don't have more problems entering the pits. Julian Alexander is in this race in car number 0, and he's brought the Fortner to this race. Of course, Alex Harrison's team owns both. They own a couple of Omeka MAO1s, along with a couple of Fortners in reserve. Alexander decided that the team wanted to bring the Fortner here because he was more confident with it on these high-speed tracks. Seemed to have paid off because Alexander's in the race. Not running too well early on, though, due to a bungled up pit stop, some contact in the pit lane with Alan Hodges, so that's not doing his race any good. Yulian Asova in car number 7 already in trouble. And you see Taub coming in to repair some damage under this green flag run here. A little early to be stopping, if you ask me. Leonid Roderick and Tony Durbin on their march towards the front at this big superspeedway here in Western Canada. Jacques Bouvier in the 59 also having a strong run, as I mentioned earlier. Roderick now having a look on the Frenchman and is going to go around Bouvier. And coming into turn 1, we believe Jacques Bouvier is going to be driving one of the Majestic Motorsports cars, seeing as the Majestic Motorsports is after a French driver, and that Adrien Devereaux is under contract, and Bouvier being the only other Frenchman that really I think most people are looking at as being in the Cup Series next year. That's no surprise. Brian Sendak in the 8 car is going to lose the lead to Leonid Roderick in the orange 4, Bouvier deciding to follow Roderick. And Ethan Everett in the 11 car coming into the picture. So Everett not entirely out of the woods yet. Pliskin still having a strong run, and Danny Savin is as well in that gold 91 car. Roderick held onto the lead for quite a while, holding off. So, some pretty fierce competition there. You see Adrien Devereaux in that 26 car beginning to work his way through traffic. And here's another Canadian national going into the top 5. Marcus Leonard in the 999 car, who at this stage of the season is a legitimate contender for the Master Cup despite not having won a race yet. Leon Keniston in car 39 pits on lap 31 along with Woody Watts in that green and gold car, excuse me. Marcus Leonard is leading on lap 33, and just about everyone behind him is going to opt for the pit lane. Drew Eisenman stays out with him. I think that's Eisenman's car, the 31, and then I think that's Yumino Tenchi behind him. Yeah, that is Eisenman. So Marcus Leonard hits the pits a lap later, leaving Leonid Roderick in the number 4 car as the race leader, and you can see the field's current running position on the left side. Leigh Gurwell having a strong run. Allie Riggs moved up to 17th. Very strong run so far for the Cromwell. You see Rainsford moved her way up to 22nd, excuse me. Scott Bates has dropped down to 23rd. Pretty slow pit stop there. Tyson Lautenschlager is not having a good day so far. Matthias Taub was running in 3rd, but all of a sudden a puncture on his car means another pit stop. Changed left side tires, but they decided to take on more fuel to top off there. Interesting call. Danny Savin and Leonid Roderick, in the meantime, would be content with battling each other for the lead. A very spirited battle with many, many lead changes between these two. Savin, car 91, not entirely sure where he's going next year. It has been revealed that he won't be coming back to this team. It's not really a surprise when both of his teammates are running so well. And there's only going to be 2-car teams next year. Anyway, Roderick right there. Now you see coming into the picture, that is Jacques Bouvier in car 59. And then right behind Bouvier, that red and black car, Tom Delgado is entering the fray. And anyway, Roderick is still having a fight with Danny Savin. However, Bouvier is going to try to take advantage, runs with Roderick. Delgado just waiting for all of this to settle out in that 837 car. A great run for the Nemoto so far. Danny Savin having a very strong run here on lap 45, or going to take lap 45. Tom Delgado right there on the outside. Danny Savin in this 91 car having a strong... Oh no. There goes the engine on the 91 car. Danny Savin drops out of the race from what could have been a top 5 run. Oh, this has got to be heartbreaking for Savin. This could have been one of those days where he was destined to shine in front of most of the other team bosses, trying to look for a ride. That's not going to help his case. A few laps later, Alexis Rainsford in car number 27 is going to be bitten by the Volpe unreliability bug that has been sort of circulating around this team all season. This could have some big championship... Whoa, hello, Tyson Lautenschlager. This could have big championship implications, and Rainsford goes out early in a race where, well, most of our other points rivals are having some very good days, especially those that really needed to catch up. Bouvier now in the lead in the 59 car, and he's going to come across some lap traffic. There's Ian Cooper. Oh, boy, what an abysmal night he's having. That 777 car. Cooper not going to pose too much of a problem to the leaders, and neither is Lewis Kingston in the 44. Well, Kingston's not having much of a good night either. And, well, that just shows how high you can be one week and how far down you can be the week after that. Yulia Nesova's on the leader's pace in this 7 car. However, she's not on the lead lap, so Nesova is going to be a bit of a nuisance to these lead cars at the moment. Alan Hodges and Mike Whitmore have both had disastrous nights. Whitmore, a very slow pit stop, and of course contact leaving the pits. And you see Alan Hodges dives into the pit lane to, that's a scheduled stop for Hodges, but Whitmore had contact in the pit lane with another car, and so Mike Whitmore's night is not going too well either, despite what looked to be a very strong run for him after winning the qualifying race. Roderick into the pits right behind Alan Hodges in that number 4 car, and then here comes... well, just about everyone else. You'll notice Yumino Tenchi and Marcus Leonard there. Le Gruel in car number 46. Marks Zenos' first run in front of their home crowd here in the TM Master Cup Series. Gruel running in P12. Tom Delgado currently leading. Ali Riggs still climbing through the field in 14th. Woody Watts in the Katsiv in 15th. So very strong runs for some of the underdogs here. In fact, some of the Independence Trophy cars having some strong nights here. Le Gruel, you might see him in the Master Cup Series next year. Drew Eisenman runs second. Tony Durbin way in the background runs third. Alexander and the Fortner off the lead lap after they had lug nut problems on his last stop. Tom Delgado is going to be held up by another Canadian national, Scott Hamilton, in the 444, who's had an absolute disaster of an evening. Hamilton, we believe, is actually losing power in that car, or at least he was reporting as such not too long ago. Here comes Drew Eisenman around Tyson Lautenschlager. That's a lapped car. Another lapped car. Joel Rodriguez. There's so many lapped cars here. And there is Tom Delgado getting held up by Scott Stoidler in a Tremwell. Wasn't saw our own Tremwell. Never mind. Anyway, there comes Drew Eisenman to take the lead away from Tom Delgado. But look at this. Tony Durbin is going to make a big capitalizes on this move. Dives under Eisenman in the 31 car, and Tony Durbin is going to sneak away with the lead, and Eisenman's going to have to settle for second. Eisenman clearly had no idea Tony Durbin was coming, otherwise I think he would have been a little bit more defensive, because Eisenman has been trying to beat Tony Durbin on the track, but that has seldom happened this year. Durbin has much had the measure of his teammate. There you see in the background the 2 Lennard teammates. Bouvier and Rachel Rainsford working together. Leon Kennison has worked his way up to 4th. Didn't I say about last race that Tom Delgado and Leon Kennison could be looking at their first Master Cup Series win sometime soon? Well, it's certainly looking like that could be the case tonight, because both of them are in contention for said first win. Yumino Tenchi in car number 31 also having a very strong run. This 831 car for the Star Team Nemoto. Tenchi has had a lot of success on the larger ovals, but really has been overshadowed by Tom Delgado, Delgado's strong performances and the unreliability and mistakes of Azuma Kazuyama. The final caution of the night occurred with, well, just 5 laps to go. And this was a strange caution. I wasn't really sure why they threw it in the first place, but it turned out that someone thought that there was debris being dropped onto the racetrack by the 14 car of Arto Kekkonen. The team disputed that until, well, the engine went under the yellow. So Arto drops out just 3 laps from the end, which left us with a 2-lap shootout when we got the restart. Tony Durbin in the lead, Tom Delgado in second, Yulia Nesova not in third. Third place is Leon Kennison in the 39 car. They got the restart, but Tom Delgado did not get as good of a start as Tony Durbin did, which would make life very difficult for Delgado. Tony Durbin appeared to just catch the rest of the field sleeping there. Delgado's getting a challenge from Nesova, but Nesova knows better than to interrupt what could be a fantastic finish here. Nesova running with Delgado and giving him a bit of help. Leon Kennison trying to hold off a charge from Eisenman on the outside. Oh, something happened to the 7 car. Looked like Nesova may have almost lost the car there for a minute. And now Delgado is going to have a charge at Durbin. With 1 lap to go, a bunch of cars ran out of fuel. They must have pitted a bit too early. But it wouldn't be enough for Delgado because Tony Durbin would cruise on to win number 3 of the year. And hello, flagman, that's the checkered you're supposed to be throwing, not the white flag. Tony Durbin takes win number 3 of the year, all of them on ovals, interestingly enough. Tom Delgado, strong second place, and a brilliant job by him. Leonid Roderick in third. Leon Kennison sits around in fourth. Great run for him as well. Drew Eisenman and Brian Sendak. Yumino Tenchi, another strong run. Jacques Bouvier. Le Gruel in front of Xenos' home crowd gets into the top 10. And Kurt Pliskin for Power Steering Incorporated sneaks away with 10. Adrian Devereaux, you saw him coming into the pits. He, I believe, came home with 12th. So we're going to have to see how the points look. And here you go. Less than 10 points separate first through fourth, and less than 30 from first through sixth. So I would say that the top 6 cars are realistic competitors for the championship. I would include Roderick as well, because Roderick is really the only driver of that top 7 who does well at both Talladega and Decatur. Everyone else, well, maybe with an exception of Marcus Leonard, has had some historical slip-ups at either Talladega or Decatur. Adrian Devereaux aside, because he's running for Rookie of the Year, it's still possible for guys like Jacques Bouvier and Chris Johans to win the championship, but it seems like a bit of a long shot at this point. And here is 11 through 20. Tom Delgado in car 837 jumps all the way up to 11th in the championship. This is the best he's ever done in the TM Master Cup Series so far. Arto Kekkonen 12th, Leon Kennison 13th. Scott Bates, after winning the pole, fairly anonymous race, sits 14th in the championship. Still a great season for the Team EFR guys, despite having a car that they've had to develop the whole year. Kurt Pliskin in the 16 car holds on to 15th in the standings. Doing a much better job behind the wheel, even though they've had to develop that car. That's my opinion, at least. Kurt Pliskin done a very good job this year. Scott Stoidler, not necessarily the best runs for him this race, but he's still hanging in there. Yumino Tenchi in 17th in the point standing. Zelda Ashby up to 18th. Probably the most anonymous driver in the field the past few races. Matt Taylor in the number 12 car, despite having an early incident, still finished the race. Came home with 19th in the points. And Woody Watts jumps the Katsev up to P20 in the points. Michael Sykes still leads the Independence Trophy, leaving Canada with Craig Janser in second, Nils Talon in third, Charlie Waters fourth. No changes there, but look at this. Ali Riggs, Le Gruel, Julian Alexander. 3 points separate those three, and they've all jumped up. Riggs could be looking at an Independence Trophy, possibly. Le Gruel and Julian Alexander as well. Keep in mind that Charlie Waters is going to be the only American driver on the entry list as of right now for the round of Russia. So that could be very interesting as far as the Independence Trophy situation is concerned. Speaking of the TM Master Cup Series round of Russia, which will be the 17th round of the championship, that, of course, is going to be run with mostly local entrants. And because the race is going to be on the same day as the TM Master Cup Series round of Alabama, drivers will not be allowed to enter both races. Of course, that would be logistically impossible. And because of the great distance involved in transporting cars, the Master Cup Series officials have discouraged teams from running both. In fact, the only Master Cup Series team to have a shop in Europe, in general, is Katsev Engineering, because they run a GT team, I believe. And therefore, we are going to be seeing the Katsev drivers, bar Woody Watts, running the round of Russia, whereas the 7 and 232 Katsev cars are going to have different drivers for Talladega. So it's going to be a very interesting situation that we're going to have there. So we're going to see Yulia Nosova and Vladimir Simonov running in Russia against what we believe are a bunch of local drivers. I don't think there's going to be more than 18 cars in the entry list, so it'll be a very interesting situation to say the least.